So I just rewatched Owl House for the second time recently, and honestly, on my second rewatch, the show was so much cooler to me. It was still cool to me on my first rewatch, but on my second rewatch, I could really catch on to like the character themes and the themes of the show, and really what the show was trying to say. And I'm not going to give my review of all of Owl House here, but what I will say is, as I got to season 3, I sort of felt that same disappointment I did when I first watched Owl House, and that's seeing that season 3 was only 3 episodes long. For context, Owl House wasn't like a small show from Disney. It was probably the biggest piece of animation on Disney, probably in general, not even like on the Disney Channel. Like, it was so massive back then. Like, even like when I wasn't even watching the Owl House back then and I just sort of joined in at the last moment, I could still feel the cultural effects of the show radiating all throughout like queer circles that I was in. And it is so ridiculous for Disney to look at all this momentum from the show and cancel it because they didn't think it was good enough for kids or something. Partially because, the show was also gay, but I think there was also more reasons than that. I think the show was also just not what Disney thought would be a formulaically good TV show. And that kind of gets into what I want to talk about today. And it's that animation executives fundamentally do not understand art, and they do not understand artists. Because let me talk about what corporations usually do. Let's look at a phone company, right? Corporations will try to find what is scientifically the thing that will sell the most products. And Apple can kind of do this with phones by making it incredibly marketable, look incredibly cool, but not actually have any cool features associated with it. And the thing about phones is that as long as it works well and works good enough, people will like it, and they'll feel cool having it. And I think the issue with art nowadays and how art intersects with capitalism nowadays is that it doesn't really work. You can't really scientifically make the best piece of art because art is inherently subjective. So you get all these executives thinking like, oh, what will capture the youth minds today? But the problem is, kids aren't that stupid. You can't trick them like that. It's just insane. And not only that, artists are not so willing to sell their souls. They went through years of art school, years of pain and dealing with shitty finances and shitty budgets. They're not going to sell your soul to you, man. They're just not going to sell your soul to you. No one's going to animate your 16th fucking Boss Baby reboot or something. I mean, they are. The problem is, I think, it's just creators will not sell your soul to you, People who actually make these ideas. There's not going to be a lot of people wanting to make a Boss Baby or a fucking Minions movie. The thing about creators is that they're going to want to make shit like the Owl House. They're going to want to make shit like the new Puss in Boots movie. They're going to want to make shit like Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. They're going to want to make genuine art that has good stories to it and good characters and good themes. They're not going to want to make baby shit. Because here's the thing about baby shit. Nobody likes baby shit. No one. Except babies, I guess. And I don't know why executives think that this formula can still work, right? And I think executives kind of look back at the old cartoons and they think, oh, all they did was funny fart jokes and did funny pieces of humor. But those animations still back then were still clever as hell. We're still funny as hell. We're still smart as hell, They didn't condescend to their audience. And the problem is that these executives want to condescend to their audience, which is why you see all of these art now failing nowadays. Even something like the MCU, which is mostly soulless. Even back then it was soulless. But even then, now that all the soul has been sucked out of the MCU, nobody watches it anymore. Because people can tell whenever you're just doing something purely for the money, right? Even back then, at least the actors wanted to be in the movies. At least people were doing it for somewhat amount of fun, They were doing it for the money, of course. But you can tell that there were some people on the Marvel team having fun. But now when you look at the movies now, you can kind of tell that they're just kind of going through the motions. They're just doing their job, right? And people can tell that shit, which is why you never hear about Marvel nowadays. Unfortunately, though, you don't really hear about a lot of other things, and Disney controls so much of the animation industry, so many artistic mediums in general, that it sucks so much. It sucks so much of the soul out of all of these artistic products, and it just kills it. But the thing is that you can keep making soulless shit, but people are not gonna watch. That works on some places like YouTube and TikTok, but it doesn't work on the big screen, because eventually people are just going to want to watch a good fucking movie. They're going to want to watch a good fucking show. Which is why Glitch Productions has been taking off recently. Because they actually look at these artists, look at all these people who want to make shit, and then they think, these people actually got a shot. These people are actually going to make something good, And they take them up, and they make things like The Digital Circus, Murder Drones, Knights of Guinevere. The same person who was behind Owl House even, right? They took that person up and he said, you know what? We're going to let you make a show and we're not going to cancel it. Now, time will tell if they don't do that, but I highly doubt they would, right? And guess what happens? Glitch gets incredibly famous. They make one of the most popular fucking animated series in recent history, right? The Digital Circus is massive. It's one of the most massive things on the internet right now, and in general. I think it's on the level of of things like Owl House and Steven Universe even. It is that fucking big. The Digital Circus is fucking massive, man. And not to scoff at any of their other shows, right? Their other shows are also doing fucking great. And not only that, indie animation in general is popping off, dude. I've been just seeing all this shit. Another one I'm just thinking of is Pretty Pretty Please, I Don't Want to Be a Magical Girl. There's also a couple other things. I know Lackadaisy was also picked up by Glitch, but I haven't seen any other Glitch things that were not Glitch recently, so I can't really name any animations right now. But just know that pay attention to the animation space right now, the indie animation space. It is popping off. And something you'll notice here is that people are a lot more excited about these products. You know why? Because it has soul behind it, People who enjoy these types of mediums, they're not stupid. They're not as stupid as your average, fucking Apple stan or a fucking guy who wants to buy a smart fridge, right? They're not as clueless as those people, right? Animation fans in general, and also artists in general, are smart individuals. Actually think about the content they consume, right? When you give them content that actually respects them and actually wants to make them think, people will accept that shit. People will welcome that shit with open arms. And that shit explodes, And now you have all these executives asking Glitch, oh, hey, how did you get so popular? And all they say is, well, we gave these guys a chance, We looked at these creators, looked at all their shows, and he thought, man, this shit was cool. We're gonna give them the budget to do this, the money to do this, and we're just gonna let them do what they want. And guess what? They make some of the most popular shows of all time now. They make shit that actually pops off, not just some fucking kiddie show shit on the Disney Channel, on Cartoon Network, on Nickelodeon. Not the fucking 67th fucking season of SpongeBob. Not the fucking 150th season of The Simpsons. Glitch and also indie creators make shows that people want to watch. And as a result, they actually succeed. That's about it. Unfortunately, I didn't get to use my Subaru analogy in calling animations Subarus. But if you understand Subaru, and I am using the right company there, right? Let me look this up. I think I'm thinking of the right company. Yeah, I think I'm thinking of the right company. Essentially, I'm thinking of the gay cards. Unfortunately, I didn't get to use my gay Subaru cars analogy in this video. I just didn't find a place to put it in, and I kind of feel like the video would go too long now. This is something I want to get my thoughts out. Apologies, I kind of seem to get motivation to make 2 videos in a week, and then just kind of disappear for a while. So I kind of want to break this curse, because that I'm having right now, where I make a lot of videos and I disappear for a couple weeks. I just want to make a video right now. So I hope y'all enjoyed, and that's about it. See ya.